One of the most impactful habits that I implemented that transformed my mood, my energy, my creativity, and productivity is a morning routine. Hi, I'm Martina Good, a health, wellness, and fitness coach. Each week, I share insights and tricks to transform your health, body, and mindset. If you haven't yet subscribed, then please take a second to hit that subscribe button below. It really means the world to me. Over the last number of years, I've been fine-tuning my morning routine to be as efficient and work like clockwork. And today, I am going to show you how I structure the first hour of my day and how you can apply it to your own life so that you can increase your mood, reduce your stress, improve the quality of your sleep, be more productive, and boost your confidence. Two morning supplements that I take with my breakfast are vitamin D3 and then also a probiotic. So the reason for taking these, we do not get enough sun in Ireland, especially in the months from October until March. But to be honest, if I am living in Ireland, I take vitamin D3 all year round, because even if we do get a bit of sun, it's just sporadically. I just don't think it's enough for what the body needs. Sun is the main source of vitamin D3, and vitamin D3 helps with immunity. It also helps with mood, so it decreases the likelihood of depression, for instance. So supplementing with that, and then also a good probiotic too. I do struggle with my digestion quite a good bit, and my stomach is just quite sensitive, so if I just eat something that doesn't quite agree with me, I just bloat straight away. Probiotics have really helped me to keep my gut bacteria happy, and it's so important to have a healthy microbiome because there is such a direct link between our gut and our brain. If the food isn't necessarily agreeing with our body, it's gonna have an impact on our cognitive behavior as well, and our mood and how we feel, and vice versa. What we are feeling and what's going on through our head is gonna have a direct impact on our gut. And things like stress, I notice myself, if I am highly stressed or there's periods of stress in my life, I will usually have physical symptoms such as either getting sick, my immunity just goes downhill, or I just suffer from bloating. So there is there's just tremendous amount of studies between the gut and the brain axis, so looking after my gut is a priority for me. My breakfast just does not change. If you've seen my last video or a couple of videos, it's literally eggs and fruit basically all the time. I mentioned that in my previous videos, but I just like the simplicity. I just like knowing what exactly I'm having, so I don't have to make those decisions. I've started to eat breakfast almost as soon as I wake up. I go through my morning routine as you would have seen, but once I go downstairs, I start to just prepare it and have it within that first hour of waking up, because when we wake up, our stress hormone cortisol is elevated, and we've also been fasting for 7 to 9 hours, well more, because I tend to have my last meal about 6:30 or 7, so I've been fasting for 10-12 hours, and fasting also increases stress levels. I don't want to put my body in an overdrive. Too much stress and the female hormones do not go hand in hand, and I had HA, I didn't have my period for 5 years, so I really understand the importance of like keeping my stress levels as low as possible, or at least doing what I can to not mess up my hormones. So breakfast is eaten within the first hour of waking up, and besides, I actually wake up so hungry, and the reason for that is I think I stopped having food close to bedtime. I used to be always somebody that's like, I need a nighttime snack or a nighttime dessert, but what that ended up doing was keeping me up for way too long, and because the food was digesting and I didn't have good quality of sleep. And of course, if I eaten at like 10 or 11, I wasn't waking up as hungry, whereas I eat my dinner at like 6:30 and then don't have anything until I wake up around and have this around 5:30 or so, or 7, then my appetite have built up. While I eat my breakfast, I also read my book. I've been flying through books. I don't think this is a flex as such, because I don't want to just be reading books for the sake of reading books and haven't been able to say, oh, I read like 100 self-development books by the end of the year. I actually want to ingest the information, but I've genuinely been just like loving reading and learning and spending time. Like while I eat this, I just take my time, read maybe like 5 or 8 pages, and then before bed I spend like 30 minutes maybe to an hour reading. Sometimes I just get really into it. Let's go for a walk.
I absolutely adore this weather. It's cold, but it's crisp and so fresh. Such a big comparison to yesterday. It was so grim. It was lashing rain, and honestly, the weather has such a big impact on me. Instantly, I'm just like blue skies, sun shining. My walk is a little bit later than I normally do it, and normally it's still pitch dark, so I don't actually get morning sunlight. Today was a bit of a delay in the day. I was having a slow morning, just one of those mornings where I'm just like, I need to take it nice and easy, just be like that. Usually I'd be out by 7:15 as such, so it's still dark at that time. But now, one of the benefits of getting out a little bit later is that the sun is already up and I'm getting my morning sunlight. And I am a big advocate, as you guys probably already know, of getting morning sunlight into my eyes as early on in the day as possible, because that just helps to regulate that circadian rhythm, so our body 24-hour clock. I am more energized during the day, and then I am finding it easier to fall asleep at night.
So good. I cannot sit down on the couch for 2 seconds before him wanting to be here with me. So the last part of my morning routine is journaling, and it depends how much time I have. Sometimes I actually just do that while I'm having my breakfast. Other times I go for my walk, then I make my morning coffee, and as I'm just sipping on my morning coffee, I do my journaling. If I do have extra time, I have a protocol that I use. I actually took that from Andrew Huberman, who provides science-based protocols to like optimize our whole life essentially. He's absolutely brilliant, neuroscientist. But essentially I started doing a protocol with my journaling where I focus on 5 things. So those 5 things are: A, writing down 5 things I'm grateful for; 2, my plans for the day; 3, any fears or resentments; 4, what am I avoiding; and 5, what should I strive for. I only started implementing this journaling protocol only like 3 weeks ago at the start of this year, and I find it really good. It really allows me to get my thoughts down on the paper in like an array of areas. But I don't always actually get the time to go into so much detail because I'm that person that once I start writing, I could literally write for 5 pages. Sometimes like the thoughts are flowing, which is amazing, you know, to get out of my head. But at times it just needs to be quick. But one non-negotiable is actually writing the 5 things that I'm grateful for. And I've been doing that for the last 3-4 years, and I still keep it in my routine. It's so simple, it's so quick, but it just puts like a positive outlook on the rest of the day. Your morning routine won't necessarily look like mine. This is what works for me and my own lifestyle. You have to create what works for you and make sure that it's actually realistic and sustainable, because if you decided to follow all the steps that I do, and bear in mind it has taken me years to actually build each habit on top of one. It's not like I started by doing 10 things at once, because that would extremely overwhelm me. And I'm sure if you're somebody that hasn't yet got around to creating your morning routine, trying to implement 10 things at once is going to be stressful, and it's not actually going to produce the benefit of reducing stress and increasing your mood, but rather have the totally opposite effect. You just got to start small, implementing one habit at a time and then building up from that. If you can be consistent with just one habit for a week or two, then add in an additional one. But you got to find something that works for you. However, I do have 5 non-negotiables that I feel should form part of a good morning routine. That is to wake up an hour earlier. You got to give yourself time to pour into your cup first before you give back to the world. So if you do want to have a slow and steady morning where you actually set yourself up for the day, then you got to give yourself time. Because if you, like me in the past, were just pressing that snooze button over and over again and just counting down the minutes that you can stay in bed before being late to work or your next meeting or whatnot, then you're gonna feel so frustrated and rushed, and you be already starting the day on a bad note. Instead, if you put the phone on the opposite side of the room, when the alarm goes off, you go press it and don't get back into bed. It's actually going to be hard, that's what I'm gonna say, because it's not going to be easy. But once you're up, you're up. It's actually worse to be just tossing and turning, because you're not really sleeping, you're half asleep, you're half awake, and you're feeling more agitated, and then you're just rushing for the rest of the morning to try to get to your next destination. So the first non-negotiable is to get up 1 hour earlier than you normally would be getting up. Second non-negotiable is to start your day with a balanced breakfast, because that way you are fueling your body and giving it the required energy it needs to work optimally for the rest of the day. So balanced breakfast consists of protein, of carbs, of fats, and some nutrients. Your body has been fasting for at least 9, 10, 11 hours since you had your dinner, so you gotta refuel it. And if you just go about your day on a coffee and you're waiting until 11 or even like lunchtime to have your first meal, you are not going to be able to even think clearly. Your brain requires that food in order to just have the best cognition. The third non-negotiable is to move your body. Whatever exercise or type of movement you decide to do, for me that is getting out for a morning walk. I used to be somebody that used to do my strength training sessions and head to the gym for an early workout. I actually find that I get more done when I just do a gentle form of exercise to start off my day and then get into work instead of my training session, because I like to push myself and I like to train hard, or like that's obviously subjective, but I do like to train hard, and sometimes I felt that it has been taking me an hour or two to recover from my workouts as opposed to re-energizing me. So I prefer a gentle type of movement, but some people prefer to just get a session done in the morning, and that actually gives them a boost of energy, and it also ensures that they're not missing out on their workouts, because sometimes tasks come up and we get like delayed and behind schedule, and it's a lot easier to miss out on workouts if we leave them till later on in the day. So if you're that person that finds that they just never really get time to do it in the evening, putting it first thing in the morning as part of your morning routine can be absolutely great. But even if it's not a workout, getting outside for a walk or even doing 20-30 minutes of yoga to move your body is actually going to help you have more energy throughout the day. Exercise also releases the endorphins, the dopamine. They're all the feel-good hormones, so it uplifts our mood. Again, it's just another part of just having a positive and successful day. The fourth non-negotiable of forming a morning routine is gratitude. Starting the day by being grateful for what you already have actually allows you to identify more positive things throughout the day, and you are getting into a grateful mindset. You're being appreciative of what you already have while striving for more. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious and wanting more out of life, and that gives you that drive. But before you do that, instead of striving for something out of like a lack or even like desperation, you are aiming for something to like enhance your already amazing life. You can be grateful for absolutely anything, such as that the sun is shining today, that you have a roof over your head, that you have a warm bed, that you have access to healthy food. It can be as small or as big. The more specific you can get with being grateful for what you really are thankful for in that moment is actually going to get you in the habit of identifying more of the good things that you already have in life. But gratitude as part of your morning routine, so key. You can start off by just simply writing 3 things that you are grateful for. Get a notepad. It doesn't have to be any fancy journal. Some like €1 notebook that you get in like a stationery shop will suffice. Just start somewhere and get into a habit of doing it every single day, and over time you'll actually learn to identify much quicker all the good things that are happening to you. And I don't believe in luck, I believe we create luck. And the more that we practice to identify opportunities which are like positive, the more positivity we attract into our life. And the last non-negotiable of a good morning routine is no screen time. So you would have seen from my morning routine that I haven't picked up my phone until I was going out for my walk. And even at that, I was just putting on my audiobook that I'm listening to currently. Sometimes before I actually go and listen to the audiobook, I will just check my WhatsApp and my emails in case there's any urgent emails or messages from my clients that I want to get back to as soon as possible. If there isn't, or if there's stuff that can wait until my walk, I will listen to the audiobook, get back home, have my coffee, my gratitude, and then I'm ready to get back into looking at my phone, looking at like content, social media for a little while. But no screen time in the first hour of waking up is probably one of the most important things that you can do, because if you think about it, bringing your phone to bed and then waking up and the first thing that you do is check notifications, it literally puts your stress levels into an overdrive. You're already being stimulated before you even get a chance to like check in with yourself first. You're already being bombarded with people like demanding things from you, and also through like the highlight reels of other people's lives that seem so perfect, and it just makes you think that your life might be not as good or not as adequate because we're seeing a glimpse of what somebody else's life look like. So avoiding that as long as you can in the start of your day, and actually just being more present and mindful and checking in with yourself before you check in with the rest of the world is like one of the key things that your morning routine should have. As I mentioned, don't overwhelm yourself. Don't try to implement everything at once. Pick 1 or 2 habits that you're going to start off with and start building up your morning routine from there. This is just an example of how I go about my morning to give you some inspiration, maybe a template that you can perhaps use. But remember, you have your own like responsibilities, commitment, different life to mine, and it might not work for you, but having a morning routine is really going to give you a lot of benefits, and it's going to make your life 100 times better. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't subscribed yet, please take a second to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video.